The following episode of the Maui Chamber of Commerce's Business Matters was originally broadcast on May 27th, 2025.
It's time now for Business Matters, brought to you by the Maui Chamber of Commerce. And now here's your host, Pam Toompop. Good morning, Pam.
Good morning, Gary. How are you this morning?
I am doing fine. What could be better than waking up on Maui?
Amen to that. It is glorious up here, bright and sunny. I'm glad to see it. Thank you so much for all you do for our show. We so appreciate you. And welcome, everybody, to Business Matters. We are going to have a fun day this morning, and it's going to be about the construction industry. First, we're going to talk with Ray Michaels, president of Maui Plumbing. He is the chair of the construction industry of Maui, known as CIM Maui, and discuss the 2025 construction industry. Tell us a little bit about their scholarship program, as well as some of the trials and tribulations that the industry has faced. And also, we're looking at moving forward with how to get more skilled labor into the industry and the industry's future, which is very bright. So we're going to talk to Ray first, and then we're going to follow that up with returning guest Roseann Freitas, Chief Executive Officer of the Building Industry Association of Hawaii, to talk more about the construction industry and her perspective of where things are at and where things need to get going. So first, let's welcome Ray Michaels, who is president and founder of Maui Plumbing Company, a leading plumbing company and fire protection contractor based in Kahului. He is a Lahaina native and St. Anthony High School alum. Ray is a second-generation plumber who established Maui Plumbing in 2010. Under his leadership, the company has expanded to over 80 full-time employees, serving commercial, multifamily, hospitality, and institutional markets across Maui. Ray's commitment to innovation and industry standards has recently led to his election as chair of the Construction Industry of Maui Trade Council for the 2025 to 2027 term. Good morning, Ray. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Pam. I'm fantastic. It's a beautiful day here, and, well, there's lots to do, so we're certainly not bored.
For sure. I don't think I've been bored for the last 5 years. And it keeps growing, so that's awesome. Well, I'm so glad to have you on this morning, and you folks through the Construction Industry of Maui Trade Council really just had a phenomenal program. Can you tell us a little bit about the Bob Paulson CIM Scholarship Program? And how does it help sustain and grow interest in the construction industry on Maui?
Sure. Well, so Bob Paulson, I always like to talk about Bob as sort of the godfather of Maui's construction industry. Yes. He was kind, he was patient, he always gave people an opportunity, and always was kind of a quiet mentor to a lot of people, and myself included. So when he passed several years ago, many of us got together and decided we wanted to do something to honor Bob. And my friend and colleague, Josh Berlin, came up with this idea of having a scholarship. And so the whole idea was behind this scholarship was to help try to clear that path for some young people to enter the industry, which is a lot of what Bob did for other people. And so what we're trying to do is not only raise interest in the industry by offering these large scholarship amounts, but also try to help Maui students shoulder some of that financial burden of higher education, which will allow them, hopefully, to return to Maui after their education is completed. And that's kind of what our whole goal is to provide people a clear path so that when they're done with their education, they return here home and they have good career opportunities available to them. So we can hopefully try to stem this, what I call brain drain, from happening in our islands.
Absolutely. So tell everybody about the awardees and how your scholarship amounts are tremendous. Tell everybody about the money that you gave out to help these young students move into that type of career.
Sure. So what we did was this year we gave out three $25,000 scholarships. So this will be about just under $400,000 in scholarships to 21 Maui students. So this year's awardees, the most difficult part, honestly, Pam, about doing this, giving out these scholarships, is now that we've garnered so much interest in the industry, we've got a lot more applicants now, and the applicants are phenomenal. So the hardest part is actually just picking the three that to win. So, would you like me to talk a little bit about the three that we chose?
Yes, please do.
Yeah. So one of the students is Carla May. She's from Lahainaluna High School. She's planning to attend UH College of Engineering to major in mechanical engineering, which was a soft spot for me. Being a mechanical contractor we definitely need more mechanical engineers. So we're super excited about that. And then we have John Ka'ahui. So John is from Seabury Hall, and he got accepted in the School of Engineering at Santa Clara University. And so we're really excited, for him as well. And we also have Emmy Sato, and she's a Maui High School student, and she was accepted into two engineering programs, Wentworth Institute of Technology in Cal Poly, and she plans to attend Cal Poly for civil engineering. And so, all of these students were just absolutely phenomenal. Their essays were great. And what we really liked about all three of them is all three had said that they want to return to Maui after college is done to help solve some of the challenges we face here at home.
They were amazing students. I had the pleasure of getting to meet them, and it was just a tremendous night. But like you said, it's the hardest thing to choose from all of these outstanding candidates. And these three individuals were truly outstanding. I know it's a tough job, but how exciting that they all want to come back home and they want to live and work here and help our community. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think the overall goal is it's not to get them to return, but they do feel somewhat indebted to the industry because we've helped them with this financial burden. And that's not our end goal, but it does help to get people to come back. That hey, the industry was here to support you. All we ask is that you come and help us solve some of these challenges at home once you're done.
I think that's tremendous, and as a parent myself, right? We selfishly maybe, but I always hoped that my daughter would return home, and thankfully she has. But we want our kids to live and enjoy Maui the way we have, and it's nice when they can, and to have get a great start at go to school and then come back and bring that knowledge back in. Yeah, I think again, your goal really is just to help them get started. I completely understand. It's lovely.
Yeah, and so they have the opportunity to be able to live here on Maui, because it is expensive. But I think there are so many opportunities in construction in particular to earn a good living, and be able to reside here on Maui.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. And that takes me to my next question, talking about our housing crisis and how expensive it is. And, it also seems that the need is clearly also for more workers in the industry and construction industry and the trades. What would you say to encourage someone, to consider going into the trades and the type of work they'll get to do and the type of lifestyle it will help them live?
Yeah, well, I think one of the coolest things about being in construction is every day is different. You're building something different. There's new, unique challenges to try to solve. Every project has a new team of people, and then you get to start to build relationships with all the people in the industry, and then you see each other on the next job. So I just think that because it's so different every day, you really don't get bored in the industry. It's a lot of fun solving these types of challenges, just the constructability of buildings and working together with other professionals as well and solving problems. It's so enjoyable because at the end of the day, you have something tangible to look at that, hey, we built that building, or hey, we redid that road, or we helped build that school, or now those homes that we helped build have, it's workforce housing, and now we have some of our friends and family living there. And there's really, truly nothing that I found that's more fulfilling. And, these careers also pay quite well, and it gives people, affords people the opportunity to not have to struggle as much, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, we do know it's a struggle, and that's something we continue to work on, both on the legislative side and at the state and the county. And again, the crisis is housing, so we can build more housing, we can bring down costs, and really give people more places to know that there's going to be housing when they're ready for that. So you folks are the one building it. I love that you said, again, we have something tangible to look back on and say, hey, we were a part of that, something that's going to survive for decades, to know that you are part of that, to get to see that as you drive by it each day. That's awesome.
Well, we also in the industry, we love to drive by buildings and point out to our wife or husband, hey, I built that. It's like one of our favorite things to do. And I noticed, lately, because of our housing crisis, there's a lot of housing activists in our community right now, and rightfully so. However, I always tell people, look, if you want to help solve the problem, like, join our industry, because we're the ones actually building these things, and we need all the help we can get. So that's always what I say to a lot of these young activists that are out there, talking about housing. More power to them, and I love their passion and their intent. But really, the best way to solve this is come join our industry. Come help us build this.
I love that, and that's a slogan that we really need to be putting out there. Is come help us do it, right? It's exactly. A lot of work that needs to be done. We're way behind. We were behind in 2017 when we first started our housing summits, and we're still behind. So yes, jump on board, get involved. I think we're going to tell everybody how they can do that in a few minutes. But why don't we just tell them right now? So if they're not tuning into the whole show, where can they get involved, and how can they look into CIM and sign up to learn more about the industry and make connections?
Yeah, so we have a website, CIMMaui.com. Our email address is pretty easy. It's hello@CIMMaui.com. People can always reach out to us there. What we really try to do is just be a facilitator to help guide people or direct people to maybe the right member companies that are a fit for them or what they're looking for. As far as other resources online, the National Center for Construction Education Research, that's NCCER, they provide credentialed programs for people interested in entering into the construction industry. And a lot of these are things like construction project management, plan reading, construction project engineering. And this is usually where I recommend people start first because it helps give people, like if they don't have a traditional education in construction, such as project management or engineering, the NCCR provides a great resource for those looking to enter into the construction, just looking to get like some basic knowledge under their belt before applying at some different jobs.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm glad that you knew. I haven't heard of that program myself, so I'm glad to hear about it and know that that's available for people to get started.
We're actually putting all our superintendents and foremen through their superintendent foreman training, and we found it just very invaluable. It's a very invaluable resource.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about what you see as the biggest challenge to the construction industry here.
It's a marketing problem, right? We for years we haven't marketed ourselves as an industry to the younger generations, and therefore we have a big what we call missing middle. So we have a lot of the younger generation, Gen Z. They're calling them the tool belt generation. They're very, very interested in the trades because they see the cost of education, and there's also this concern about AI taking over a lot of white collar jobs, and they see as blue collar jobs as a safer alternative. But the challenge really is getting people to understand like what it is that we do in the industry. Just because, the stereotype about, construction is when you think of construction, you think of guys swinging hammers. And that's a kind of very, like, if you look at it through a pinhole, it's a very myopic kind of view of the construction industry because it's so much more broader than that.
Right.
But,
much broader than that.
Your question again, it's really just getting people interested in looking at construction as a good career path.
And along that lines, what are some of the misconceptions that, you mentioned the first thing that comes to mind is seeing people sort of swinging a hammer, and that's a very limited view. What are some of the other misconceptions that you folks hear?
Well, again, it's, that it's only about manual labor, but there's so many roles beyond that: project management, engineering, surveying, estimating, safety, technology management. And then the industry is becoming just increasingly digital. We use drones, 3D printing. The use of AI has become more common on the administrative side. And, the other, I think, misconception is that construction sites are dangerous. And maybe that comes from, years past where you'd look at a construction site and there would be guys working with no safety equipment on roof lines. But, there are now very strict regulations. We have ongoing safety training, proper personal protection equipment, and new technologies that have just dramatically improve job site safety. And, I think with the younger people, the common misconception is that we're a low-tech industry. But in today's construction industry, we use very advanced technology like building information modeling, which creates digital twins of buildings. We use a lot of drones for surveying, and then we're using a lot of augmented reality for planning and for managing schedules and budgets. So this kind of thing is very, very exciting. They call construction kind of like the last sector to really embrace technology. So it's nice to see it's happening, and they call this construction 2.0 because we're really embracing all these different technologies that have come out in the last 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, and I would tell you, your group with the construction industry of Maui, very dynamic group, very active in, pushing the limits, exploring new options, getting involved in the community, helping people who are looking for career opportunities find them in the industry. You folks are on fire. It's a younger group as well. I mean, I remember when I first learned about the construction industry of Maui, a lot of them were sort of long-standing, some of the older contractors, as you mentioned, Bob Paulson, but great mentors. They were great mentors in the industry. And you've got a really young and engaged group leading this industry through CIM.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be a part of it. And when I joined the CIM, I really wasn't sure what it is we did. But once I found it was this group of just absolutely phenomenal professionals who just volunteer countless hours of their time to help improve our community and our industry. And our group there is, yeah, you're right, it's very dynamic. I mean, we have project managers, we have, two of our largest GCs on the board, and we have some suppliers on the board, and everybody, what I noticed, is absolutely passionate about this industry and what it is they do, and they just want to share that.
Yeah. It's really a tremendous effort by all of you. It's a lot of volunteer time, but everybody is extremely committed to bringing this industry up, to bringing younger people in, to just filling either some gaps right now, right? Tell us a little bit about some of the gaps. You've got an aging industry, and so now's a great time to get into the industry.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a huge generational gap, but, it's just we're having an accelerated retirement happen because a vast majority of our workers were baby boomers. And so they're all retired. They have an accelerated retiring rate. And I've heard a couple of different stats, but the one that really stands out to me was from ACE Mentoring, and they're a construction and engineering mentoring firm. And what they have found is that for every 7 people retiring from the industry, only 1 is coming in. And so there's a huge skilled trades gap happening because there's just the amount of construction we're doing has gone up in terms of value and number of buildings being constructed, and the amount of elements that are within these buildings have become more complicated, but we're having to do a lot more with less because there's just simply more people retiring than there is coming into the industry.
Right. That's a huge number. I mean, 1 to 7 is huge. So that's something that,
I also saw,
if you're listening, lots of opportunities.
Yeah.
Ahead,
I mean, that's it's just one stat. I also saw Forbes had a article where they're talking about the generation gap and how they've estimated that 40% of our industry will be retired by 2030.
Well, yeah. So great, both excellent points to show lots of opportunity within this industry. And again, for those who really want to work and stay at home, this is a great industry to get into. You can have a phenomenal career, and you can live on Maui. It's such a win-win. Tell us about some of the top positions in this industry.
Sure. Well, but I'll start with the administrative side. When we look at, because everybody thinks about the manual labor side, but project management is a big paying role right now. It's over six figures. It's into the six-figure territory for most project managers. It's not a role that requires a college degree, although there are degrees in construction management. A lot of the project managers I know cut their teeth, with on-the-job training, or perhaps took some online courses. So it takes some time to learn, but I think it's a great career for people who maybe aren't interested in the field work, but are interested in the industry. As far as the field work goes, the top paying jobs right now are in the more technical side, so electrical, HVAC, and in our trade, plumbing. And particularly electrical and HVAC, our world is getting warmer, so there's high demand for HVAC technicians because those systems have, incorporated more and more technology. So they're more of a high-tech job than they are like a traditional swinging hammer job. And then electrical work as well, because we have such a high demand for renewable energy projects, the demand for electricians has never been greater. So that, coupled with data center projects on the mainland, has really put a huge demand on electricians. And looking at Hawaii's numbers, Hawaii saw 23% of its electricians retire between 2022 and 2024. So as you can see, like just with those numbers, you're seeing that acceleration of retirement. But you couple that with just unprecedented demand for that trade. So and then plumbing as well. Nobody really thinks about plumbing until they don't have hot water or their toilets don't flush. But it is such a critical component of everyday life that, and in any of these trades, I don't think you'll ever run out of work. And that's right. Another misconception is that that the jobs are inconsistent. I haven't seen that in my 15 plus years in the industry, even through COVID and the 2008 economic downturn. Everybody was still, working pretty full time.
Yeah. I think that I remember there were times, but it was a long, long time ago that we saw things like that with, just against some of the union workers out of work or picketing certain jobs that brought in laborers and didn't hire local laborers. But again, we've got decades worth of work in terms of my view as we look forward, with not only rebuilding, addressing our housing crisis.
Yeah, I agree. I was talking to a architect, David Sellers from Hawaii Off Grid, and he goes, I thought this housing crisis, we could solve it, and it's going to be the next 5 to 10 years of my career, but I think it's just going to be the rest of my career. And I tend to agree with him on this, that there are decades worth of work in front of us, and I don't see any sign of it stopping, because even if there aren't new buildings to build or that demand isn't there for whatever reason, there's still critical infrastructure that needs to be repaired and maintained.
Well, Ray, this has been such a fun morning telling everybody about the construction industry and the work that the construction industry of Maui CIM is doing, and the scholarship program. As you look to the future, and we were just talking about, again, from our view, we're seeing decades worth of work. What do you really see in terms of, as we rebuild Lahaina and we rebuild Maui, what do you see as some of the bright spots moving forward?
The bright spot truly is that people are starting to look at the construction industry as a viable career, especially here on Maui. As tourism has taken a dip, I saw the Hawaii GVDT released a report saying, construction was our big bright spot that kind of offset those losses we saw from tourism. So I think really honestly, Pam, the biggest bright spot, there's always a silver lining, even with the line of fires, is that there's a tremendous opportunity here to get people into our industry and provide them with really great, well-paying careers. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, again, also, if you're getting to do that work, it's just feels so amazing to be able to help in that way. This is a great way that, you can build housing, you can help rebuild Lahaina. These are critical needs for our community, and you can have a great career doing it and love what you're doing and love the people in the industry. They're very vibrant, energetic, excited, interested. As Ray said, they're people using new technologies, and you get to network with so many different types of other people in the industry with different trades, and coming together to work on a project together, meet a lot of people. And you often see people, who've worked with others in other careers, and they're the best of friends. Everybody just seems to be great friends, moving forward and excited about the work they're doing. So tell everybody again how they can learn more.
I think, Pam. I'm sorry.
I said, yeah. I mean, it just. I think back. I look back and think, wow. I would have loved to have been in project management in the construction industry. My mom actually did some of that work, and but more on the development side. But it always seemed like such a fun career. So tell everybody again how they can find out more about CIM, how they can find out about some of the training that you mentioned, that they can reach out to the website and learn more about how to get started in the industry, and how to reconnect with CIM on the website and email.
Yeah, so our website is CIMMaui.com, and the email is hello@CIMMaui.com. And, if people reach out to us, it's best if they reach out to us, say, hey, I'm interested in a career in the construction industry, and have a general idea of which direction they want to go. Do they want to do field work or more administration? And, we can help try to facilitate that and direct them to the companies that, we know are hiring, which is truly everybody, and what we think would be a good fit for, what they're looking for. And they can do that. And then as well as there's a lot of resources online, but the one I always direct people to, again, is National Center for Construction Education and Research, and that's NCCER. They're a national organization, and what they really are about is just educating people in the construction industry. They're an education and research firm, and they also provide a lot of apprenticeship courses nationally to a lot of merit-based shops. So they're a great organization, and they really do try to help people get started in a career in the industry.
Yeah, that's a great referral. So I really appreciate that. And, and then there's also at UHMC, there's some trades programs going on.
Yeah, I was so excited to see that. And a lot of them are free. There's a basic carpentry, basic painting, basic plumbing, basic electrical. And that is really cool, because one of the challenges that we face as a contractor is when we get new people in, they're green. I mean, they've never read a tape measure before, or, it's just those few basic skills. So the learning curve is a little bit long. But if they were to attend one of these courses, and they're prep courses, and taught them some of those basic skills, they're going to be well ahead when they come into a company with just that under their belt. It's actually kind of a burden off of the contractor to know that they've already had this basic training. And a lot of these courses also cover safety, which is huge in our industry now. We want to make sure people are working safely. And so being able to give people that classroom instruction and that time really helps set them up for success for getting into field work in the industry.
Yeah, it's a great jumpstart. So we really recommend looking into those programs if you're interested as well. But reach out to CIM because, again, you have a lot of people within the construction industry of Maui who've been doing this work for a period of time. They can listen to you. They can hear your passion. They can hear the kinds of things you're interested in and help direct you. And to get that type of mentoring through them is invaluable. And, of course, you've gotten to hear today about their many other programs. Ray, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's great to have you on the show. We'd love to have you come on quarterly and give us updates and tell everybody what's going on in the industry as things move forward. And hopefully we'll get some great calls generated this morning. So parents, if you're listening, take this information and share it with your children because maybe they're looking at something, a different view than maybe what they planned currently. And I think, again, if you learn more about the industry, you'll see what a wonderful and rewarding industry it is. So
yeah, it really is.
I hope you have a great day.
You too.
Thank
you. For having me on.
Absolutely. We'll have you on again soon. Aloha.
Okay. Aloha.
So, Ray is such a treasure, and the industry is amazing, and the people involved are doing phenomenal things. So we really encourage you to share this news, and we hope some of our youth and people who are just, gearing up for thinking about their career moving forward will reach out and learn more because, as Ray said, it's a tremendously different industry than it was decades ago. And they're trying to work really hard to help people understand the diversity of the industry, the dynamics of the industry, the technology being used, and just engage people in finding awesome careers right here at home. Roseann Freitas, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Building Industry Association of Hawaii, is joining us since stepping into that role in December of 2023, which was, it feels like a blip actually, but it's been a while. She's been in this role, and we were so excited to have her there. She has been instrumental in revitalizing the association's education and training programs, including apprenticeship construction training initiatives, which offers OSHA certifications, which is, again, that operational safety and health that Ray was just talking about. So they've got certifications and hands-on experience to aspiring professionals across the island. Her guidance through the BIA Hawaii continues to advocate for the construction industry, focusing on workforce development and sustainable growth. Roseann, good morning. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Pam.
Good morning. It's great to have you on the show again. How are you this morning?
I am doing great, and thank you so much for inviting me. And it was great to listen to Ray talk about, trying to build that workforce. It's so needed, and that's, we've had such shortage for so long, and we have a housing crisis. So now is the time to really get it going.
Absolutely. Well, then, speaking of our housing crisis, we've heard of another recent crisis, and it was recently announced that Hawaii Job Corps will be shutting down at the end of June, and I know that they've been helping people get into the trades, too. Can you tell us a little bit about what efforts you will be taking at the BIA to help the workforce of Maui, and can you tell us a little bit about your workforce development plan?
Yeah, that was unfortunate news about Job Corps, such a great organization that provided so many people with the skills they needed to succeed. So in the meantime, we're going to all try to step in and help the best we can. So we are already getting some phone calls in regards to that. So we do have that pre-apprenticeship construction training. We call it PACT for short. And we have what it is a 6-week curriculum. And so a lot of times they'll do an OSHA 10 training. We do an OSHA 30, which gives them even more safety training. We do first aid, CPR. So they get all those certifications. And we do a lot of the intro to construction, but then we touch on the different topics from carpentry to electrical, plumbing, and HVAC. So we touch on all of those. But the big part of that curriculum is actually a hands-on. So we're excited because we've been trying to get this to Maui, and it's just been a matter of lining things up. And we now have pretty much everything in place. We're having a meeting today to finalize it. So we're looking to have that start in September over on Maui. We're going to partner also with Homemade Hawaii, where they can do some of the hands-on over at the site where some of the people who were impacted by the fire are temporarily living. So we've got some great partners that we'll be working with over there. And the goal is to keep the jobs in Maui. There is so much building that needs to be done, and we need the dollars to stay in Maui, not to go to a company that comes in and does the work and leaves. And not to say that they aren't great companies, they are. That said, we do need the dollars to stay right there in Maui. And we also need the people to stay. So I think it's a nice win situation where we train people to get jobs that will eventually pay better than average, and they can help rebuild their own community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, as you say, we have the work here. We have the people here. We have people who are wanting to find careers where they can stay at home. We have many in the visitor industry who've seen a downturn in that industry, and they're looking at how they can stay here on Maui. And the construction industry is a viable industry for that. And again, decades worth of work and opportunity. So I know you've been talking about this. I'm so excited to hear that this program is coming to Maui in September. That's phenomenal. Just what a tremendous opportunity for people to come get this jump start in getting into the industry. And again, you've heard that from Ray and also from Roseann, lots of opportunity. And we want to build this through our own local families. And, we want to have our children who want to stay here and grow up in this industry have those opportunities. And now in this time, they're right in front of you. So how exciting is that? I'm going to kind of take a couple of breaks in between because I want to make sure that as we put out this great opportunity, we let people know how they can find out about that, since September is right around the corner. So how can they find out about this OSHA 30 training that you're doing?
So what they can do is they can reach out to us on our website at biahawaii.org. Go to the education page, and you can just click on reaching out to the education team, and they'll get back with you. We'll have the class up on our website soon as we make sure we have all of our, dot our I's, cross our T's. But then, Pam, what we can also do is share that with you at the chamber if you want to put that also on your website. Most definitely get that information out. Or you can call us 808-629-7500 is our direct line to get into BIA. We're just really excited for this opportunity. We've been successful here in relaunching the program on Oahu, because I live over here on Oahu, and we've graduated 5 cohorts since September. So now that we've got the logistics ready for Maui, we're just excited with this opportunity to take it there. Because you mentioned it, it's just really keeping people there, helping rebuild their own community. And when we know we need a lot of housing, but we also have to look at the housing that's currently existing, and a lot of it is older. So I looked it up. The average age of a home in Hawaii is 46 years. So there's going to be a lot of work for a long time. Yeah. Very true. And again, when we saw this in Lahaina, right, a lot of them were old plantation homes. And they were old, and sadly, many of them were just tinder boxes. It was just, very old wood and very dry. And so this is 46 years. I'm glad to hear this stat. I've never heard that before, but that is a shocking number. Yeah, it is, because the reality is most people can't afford to upgrade, right? It becomes very expensive here in Hawaii just to live, let alone completely upgrade your home. So it is something we all need to continue to work on to try to keep the pricing as low as we can out here in the islands. Yeah. Very true. I'm glad to hear that. And this is a wonderful program to help people get started. And we absolutely will post it on the Chamber website and share it with our members in our e-news. Let's talk about House Bill 420 that deeply impacts the building industry in Hawaii. Tell us about the bill and the work that you were doing as it was going through session, and tell us how you feel it will affect how we move forward. So originally, Hawaii has the Contractors Repair Act, and there's obviously a lot of things that go into that, but part of that is allowing the contractor, if there is an issue, to come back and remedy it before filing lawsuit. But also it deals with everything on the legal side so that idea is avoid going to litigation because the reality is most people won't win, right? It's a long process. But what would happen is they found ways around the law. And so they this really impacted the developers, where they started to come in and file class action lawsuits for a whole community. So they could find damages in a few homes and then just have everybody come in. Now, the problem with that is they didn't verify if there was damages in the other homes. That was the assumption. And people had to opt out, not opt in. And so people found themselves caught in this class action lawsuit. And why this becomes an issue is once this development is involved in a class action lawsuit, VA, FHA, Freddie Mac, and Fannie Mae, they won't loan to any development that's in class action lawsuit. And of course, then it becomes harder also with the banks. So people found they couldn't afford to buy it, and then those who lived there couldn't afford to sell it. And it could take 2 to 3 years. So HB 420 was trying to reinforce this, that you have to have damages to be able to file a lawsuit. Now, I know some people were like, oh, no, this makes it better for the builder and not the homeowner. The homeowner still has all of their protections. But this really pushes that you have to have damages to be in a lawsuit, because anytime anything's in a lawsuit, it increases the cost all the way around. So it was many things that have increased the cost of a home. So BIA, along with D.R. Horton and other organizations, really were pushing this, and we had a lot of support behind us on this, and we were very grateful. We're just now waiting for the governor to sign it, and we have till June, I believe, 6th, right?
I think so, yes. It's coming up quick.
So it's coming up quick, so we're just waiting for the governor to sign it.
Awesome. Do you have any indication that he will, or that there might be a concern in case people need to ring in?
You know, we haven't heard that. I haven't heard he won't, and I haven't heard he will. So I would think if he was leaning against it, that we might have heard that, but no, I have not heard, because we've been asking, and everybody doesn't. The people, our experts, don't think he will go against it. But it never hurts.
Well, he could have put it on a list to say that that he had concerns too. So if it's not on the list, that's helpful. So that's awesome.
Yes.
So great to have you gone and explain that for people, because I know, as you said, there was some misconceptions about that bill.
Yes. And a lot of it was both sides, they play on our emotions as they're going to stop you as a homeowner. And it's not changed most of the law. The homeowner still should get things fixed. And the reality is that's why it's really important to make sure who you do business with, right? So that you can follow up with them, because there will always be a challenge with first one or two of them, right? But the key is to stay in communication with the developer.
Absolutely. Yeah, great point. So, on that note, and we were talking with Ray about this, housing is such a huge concern for Maui right now, not just with the shortages that we have had already and had historically, but of course, those challenges have grown in the wake of the wildfires. So when it comes to the building industry, what are some of the challenges that you'll see that they'll face as we look to fix these issues? And how have the tariffs created additional problems for builders?
Well, the tariffs really have created a headache for everybody all the way around, because a lot of times as you're going through, whether it's a remodel or a new build, you need to know what the cost is. Everybody does. However, right now with the uncertainty of the tariffs, it's hard for them to give you that quote without having a little addendum that says if the tariffs go in, right? So it's people still have the demand, but I think what you see, it's just the way economics works. Once there's the uncertainty in the market, people tend to hold back. They won't spend as much because they're unsure, which is not necessarily a bad way to do things when you're unsure, but it really has a huge impact on the economy. So right now, construction's strong, but if this continues, I could see that at some point that reducing people's desire to do anything and cutting back. And of course, that cuts back on the economic side. The other challenge is permitting, and it's always been an issue here in Hawaii. And so it really is working towards a solution on the permitting side where we're still able to get homes through relatively quickly, but still be mindful of safety issues as well. So those will still be some of the top two. We're going to be in D.C. next week. The National Association of Home Builders all gets there every June to go talk to our legislative group up there. So we will have some meetings while we're up there just to talk about the priority, how homes are a priority for us, but also the workforce development, especially in light of Job Corps being shut down.
Wow, I'm so excited that you guys are going to be there because we're coming up for Hawaii on the Hill as well. So I'll be in D.C. Are you going to stay over?
We'll have to hook up.
Yeah, we'll have to hook up. Let's connect offline. That would be great because, we'll be up there too. It's something we do every year, part of Senator Mazie Hirono's brilliant idea of other people have taste events like Taste of Vermont on the Hill, and why not Hawaii? But we also pair it with the Policy Summit and other activities. So that's great. I'm glad that you're there, and I'm glad that you'll be advocating for us. We're coming to that time where the show's about to end. So before that happens, I'd love for you to tell everybody again how they can reach out to you for information and some of the quick things you have coming up.
So they can reach out to us at biahawaii.org. That's our website. Also, 808-629-7500 is our phone. Things we have coming up, we have in August the Big Home Show here on Oahu. So we'll be doing that the weekend of August 8th through 10th. We are bringing an economist from D.C. to come speak to our members at the end of August. And we're looking to maybe try to get to Maui to do a pauhana in September. So we'll let you know when we're able to work out those details as well.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, you've got so many fabulous things going on, Roseann, and I just want to thank you for all of the tremendous work that you're doing. Appreciate you coming on the show. We love to have you on quarterly and have you give updates because you're such a tremendous resource and really helping to move things forward. And we can't really say, enough about the work that you do and how you're helping the industry. And, again, you came in 2023 and you have just jettisoned the industry forward, in just a very short time. It's really been remarkable to see.
Thank you so much. And look forward to maybe seeing you next week.
I hope so. That would be awesome. I'll text you and see how our dates aligned. That would be phenomenal.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks so much, Roseann. It's great to have you on the show. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful construction morning. I hope that everybody sees that there is a lot of work. There is so many amazing opportunities coming about at this time that everybody can really take part of. I'm sure everybody listening knows somebody who might have an interest in being in the industry if they're not already. And if they are already, please applaud the amazing work that they're doing. This is a critical time for Maui, again, both for the rebuilding of Lahaina, our crown jewel that was lost, but will be rebuilt again, and to solve this housing crisis. And we need to solve it now. We need to make sure that people can afford to stay in Maui and continue to live here and raise their families here, and for children to come home after they've gone away to school or traveled abroad or served in the military. Have them have a place to come home. It's just a really critical time. So, it's a wonderful industry, and we appreciate Roseann and Ray for joining us this morning. I want to thank you all for listening to Business Matters here on Tuesday mornings. We're going to be back again next week, and so we hope you'll join us again for another session. In the meantime, I just want to send blessings and aloha for a beautiful Maui week, and we'll be back soon. Ahui ho.